Yo, what's going on, everybody, and welcome to a brand new video today on this good ass Monday. Hope you all feeling, looking, smelling good. Your boy here, you text the Archangel, the undiscovered talent, the biblical beast, the best there is, the best was, the best ever will be. What is up? So today I want to talk about the XYZ aka Xyz tournament, well, festival in Master Duel, because it's been a conversation of the topic on in math for the Yugioh community, and I had other videos planned for this week, but I'll push some of those back to get to something that's more recent and I guess we'll say a bigger concern. So that way Konami can use videos like this as what to do in the future. Now, as someone who's played Yu-Gi-Oh since the card game first came out, I'm a dinosaur. Someone who's been playing Master Duel and Duel Links and all these other Yu-Gi-Oh video games, not just the card game itself. I've noticed Konami, go through, the ringer, go through the process. And when you see a company go through all these processes, you think to yourself, there's no way that this company can continuously forget or screw up on events. And I'm going to reference Duel Links for the most part when it comes to this conversation, because Duel Links is the most recent free-to-play Yu-Gi-Oh game when it comes from Konami. And in Duel Links, when they first came out with character event duels, and these duels back in Duel Links basically were everyone was tired of the meta. This is like early days of Duel Links. Everyone's tired of the meta. People will stop playing the game, and Konami thought to themselves, there needs to be something that gives people a break from the meta of playing just ranked Yu-Gi-Oh, and it came out with character-based events. And these character-based events, you could only use character decks. So let's say the event comes out, you can only play tunes. So you had to play as Pegasus. You had to have a certain number of tune cards in your deck in order for that deck to be used in that tournament. And for the first few days, that's exactly what it was, and it was great. It was a breath of fresh air. Everyone was basically just playing nothing but character decks. There was still some meta in there, because some character decks like Ancient Gear at the time, Blue Eyes, Dark Magician, Red Eyes, those are all meta decks at the time. But because everyone was just playing character decks, it was okay to at least deal with those meta decks. But for the most part, you would get into duels where you're people playing it as Merrick, people playing as the Shizu, playing Great Keepers. People play tunes, play Harpies before they got buff. Amazons was very dominant at that time as well. But it was just, there was variety. You wasn't playing against the exact same decks over and over and over again. But eventually people found a workaround. After a few days, people noticed you only really need to have a certain number of cards that use that name title. So let's go with tunes. So you will only have to have, let's say, 5 tunes in your deck. I mean, you can have 15 other cards that have nothing to do with tunes. So people will start to new, and they're starting to use those meta decks that they were already using, and they just throw 3 Dark Magician cards into it, or 3 tunes into it, and then go from there. And it was like they found a loophole. So these character deck events got tainted because you stopped playing against character decks. You just started playing against the regular meta, who had these garnets basically in their decks that were just there to allow them to play meta decks inside these little events. And it just sucked, and it became an issue. What does that have to do with Master Duel? Well, in the Xyz Festival, the whole point of the Xyz Festival Master Duel right now is you're only supposed to play decks that utilizes the Xyz function of Yu-Gi-Oh. That's the problem. There is no, Konami did a good job at making sure other decks weren't useful. They started banning a shit ton of cards. All links were banned from the event. All fusions were banned from the event. All a lot of the broken cards and kind of overpowered decks like Eldritch is kind of not allowed to be used into it. They ban fusions and synchros. Basically, you can only use fusion, not fusion. You can only use Xyz in your extra deck. The problem with that is the game doesn't punish you or reward you. Well, it kind of rewards you, but there's no punishment for not playing an Xyz card. So let's say, for example, you will get into duels, and most of the duels that you'll see during this gameplay are from the Xyz event. So you'll get in duels where people were playing Dark Magician, playing ritual-based decks, playing Blue Eyes, and playing non-Xyz decks with no extra deck, or they'll throw on maybe 5 cards to the extra deck because they thought that you had to have at least something in your extra deck to do the event. And it just ruins it. It's why can't you want to say it's not Konami's fault because You can't think of the community just deciding not to cooperate. You can't think of the community just being like, cool event, I'm not doing that. I want to take advantage of the fact that no one's playing meta and just play, whatever decks I want to play. I want to play Death Box Pendulums with no extra deck. I want to play Blue Eyes or Dark Magician in Drytrons and all these other decks, and just not even like bother putting. I've seen Monarchs. I've seen so many. Most of the duels I've been getting into have been decks that don't even utilize XZ summoning, and a lot of the duels I've gotten into don't have extra decks. Like I said, some people do have extra decks because they were told you had to have one, but some people don't, and that shows you that Konami didn't even make it to where you had to have an actual extra deck. So how do you fix that situation? Now, personally, I think the way you do it is people have to have at least 10 XZs in their extra deck, or the deck is forbidden from being used inside these kind of like festivals. Not only that, you can only be rewarded if you have played at least one XZs during that duel. The keyword there is rewarded, as in if you win, lose, doesn't matter. You had to have played at least one XZs, or you get no credit for that duel. None. The other thing I would recommend Konami does is, I don't know if it's possible, but then you have to figure out a way to where, you gotta ban rituals. Like, remember I said that they had fusion, synchros, and links all banned. Ban rituals, so you can't just be playing ritual decks in an XZ tournament. Or let's say you have a ritual tournament that comes out, festival, whatever. Make sure everyone's playing ritual decks. There has to be a way to figure that out. Now, the one thing you've noticed in this video that I've mentioned is the suicide decks. Because if you look at these videos about the XZ Festival, all you hear about is the suicide decks. I've been talking about just the fact that people aren't even playing XZ decks. Because to me, that's a bigger issue than suicide decks. Suicide decks have always been a thing in these free-to-play Yu-Gi-Oh games. Dueling is filled with suicide decks, and no one really cared because, for the most part, suicide decks and Duel Links were only in casual duels. People are trying to like just get duels over quickly to, trying to get skills as fast as possible. I feel like people who are manipulating the system to not play Xyz decks in the Xyz tournament is a bigger issue. That to me taints the experience, taints the fun. Now I'm trying to take advantage of this shit. Like, I'm sorry for the language, but when I say take advantage of it, I'm trying to take advantage of having fun with the event. I'm not even playing a built deck. Most of the gameplay you'll see is me playing a loner deck. I have played like an XZ's Magician deck, aka I'm using like Magician of Hope and some of the Odd Eyes XZ's cards, but that's about it. I'm not using anything else in that. I'm taking advantage of just playing XZ's because I like the idea of doing these character duels. I like the idea of doing these kind of festivals. I love that because it makes it fun to me. It makes Yu-Gi-Oh fun. It makes it more strategic when you have to play certain decks and can't just play whatever you want or just play decks that you yourself create. It makes it more, you have to figure it out. Especially if you get to those mirror matches when you play with loner decks. Like, let's see who got a brickier hand, because sometimes loner decks are pretty bad. But when it comes down to the suicide decks, I am going to talk about it. Yes, it is bad. Suicide decks, for those who don't play Yu-Gi-Oh, is basically a player will play nothing in their deck other than cards that harm themselves, take away their own life points just to get it done quicker. You get more rewards for winning in the XZ Festival, but you still get rewards for losing. People are okay with taking less rewards if it just means, they'll get reward, period. You get like 50 gems, not 50 gems, you get 50 points for losing. So if you do, 5 duels, and you end all those duels, in under a minute, you're getting a lot of freaking like, points for the XZ event. Whether you're like trying, actually trying hard, or you want to win and you're getting only 250 or 200, and you might lose the next game, so you got that 100 for that first duel, and then you got 50 for the next, so you're not getting as many points. So you will see why people would do it. I'm not condoning it. I think there's the bigger issues, people who are taking advantage of the event and not playing the event decks. That's a bigger deal to me. But I do think Konami has to find a way to also deal with the suicide decks. And honestly, I think what I said before about you have to play an XZ card in order to get rewarded for the totality of playing the event. would also hurt suicide decks, because suicide decks will have to run Xyz cards. Suicide decks have to play at least one Xyz card. You know, they'll have to do something that involves them summoning Xyz cards, and you can use that for future events. Let's say you have an event where you only have to play, you got to play character decks. So if you're playing a character deck, you have to have played at least one of those character cards. If you're playing you have a ritual event, you have to have played at least one ritual card. So you have a link event, you have to have played at least one link. Fusion event, you had to have done at least one fusion. You know, it's so on and so on and so on. Because synchros. There's ways to find. There's ways you can find out how to, you know, prevent people from doing suicide decks, at least to a degree where it is right now. I don't think it's impossible to like just entirely get rid of it unless you ban the cards that do, you know, the self damage. What you could do, you could just for the next events ban cards that do self damage. Very well do that. But there are also cards in the game that do self damage that aren't meant for suicide decks, like Chicken Game. Chicken Game is a very powerful card in Pendulum decks because it gives you a free draw. You give 1,000 life points, you draw one card. Most people who play Chicken Game aren't using that to self, you know, lose the game. They're using it to just get an extra draw to go to their plays. But anyways, I just feel like that's what they could do to better the events now and in the future. Generally, when I'm not dealing with people who are, you know, not playing Xyz decks and people who are suiciding in the game, I have fun with it. Whether I win or lose, I enjoy it. I do wish people would be more inclined to using some loner decks, because I think it just makes it a little bit more fun to see, you know, people playing with loner decks and not, you know, just taking, you know, whatever is in the game and just going with that, or going on Duel Links meta, or, you know, Team Sam around whoever, and they're like, hey, just play Zodiacs. And that's like, a lot of people are playing Zodiacs because they were told YouTubers to play Zodiacs. But anyways, this is the video. Thank you guys, thank you for watching. Hope you all enjoyed. I'll catch you guys the next one. Probably on Twitch. Leave time to switch on below on the screen right now. Live today on Twitch playing, I don't know what I'm playing on this week. Well, today at least. But I'm going to be live at 3 p.m. So a few hours after you see this video. We're going to be doing on Thursday a midnight stream for Elden Ring. So stay watching the videos, stay watching the streams. Anyways, video boy, you say sorry, can't hope you all have a good day. Hope you stay. Let me catch you next one. Deuces.